Joshua this morning spoke a little bit about Thomas Friedman and the flat world. In his most recent book, Thomas Friedman, in his book named Hot, Flat and Crowded, Thomas Friedman is talking about the fact that it's not only getting warmer, it's flatter, but this world is becoming very crowded. He was born in 1953, and there were 2.6 billion people at that time. He said in his book that if he keeps on eating yogurt and riding his bicycle, he actually may live up to the age of 100. Now in 2050, there are going to be, the estimation is, there are going to be 9 billion people on this planet. So all of the issues that we're talking about the need for a smart grid to solve so many issues, are going to be so much bigger in the years to come. So it's really important that we do that. He also mentions the fact that IT was the big thing in the last century or decade. The new thing is going to be ET, energy technology. And he also mentioned the economist who named this area of communication related to grid as the energy internet. And I think that communication is definitely going to be a big thing here. And when we talk about efficiency, the communication could contribute a lot. Let's take a look at a different network that we know very well, that has been around for quite a while, the internet. Think about what the internet would be if the communication would not be efficient. You wouldn't be able to run all those applications, you wouldn't be able to access all that data without very efficient communication. And today when companies build new applications and generate more information to be available on the internet, they know that the communication is not going to be a bottleneck. What we need to make sure is that when we build those smart grids, and we want to make them as smart as possible without any limitations, we need to make sure that the communication is efficient as possible and is not a bottleneck. So in this survey, utilities were surveyed to ask them, what are the 3 main issues that you see in smart grid? Name the first, the second, and the third. Well, the #1 issue was communication. 55% of the people said that communication was the most important thing to deal with. The majority of them, it's 75 or 85, said that communication is one of the top 3 important issues. Now, where does Alavarion fit into that? We are a manufacturer of WiMax. We believe that wimax-sg-1.AVI is the right platform to start with grid. It's just a starting point. But we also appreciate the fact that smart grid is something very big, and we're not the only vendor in this space, and there are going to be multiple networks that we need to collaborate with. So we believe that standards is very important because it allows the interoperability. We also appreciate the fact that these are huge projects, and working with partners and large system integrators makes a lot of sense. So let's take a look at about the different networks that are out there. What you see here is a typical neighborhood or a city or service territory. And you have, the first network is the home area network, and we'll be talking about this today. Home area network need certain types of networks. Definitely they don't need long range. There is a question about how much bandwidth they need. Definitely they don't need a lot of bandwidth today. But I remember when I first used the internet, it was quite a few years ago, I had a modem that was 9.6, and I was happy because I was doing text emails and FTP. That was fine. Now today everyone says, well, home area network, you don't need much, it's just reading the meters and some other stuff, some monitoring. I think that as we move forward, we'll see many more applications run out of the houses. Well, Google had one application. There are going to be more commercial applications, and more bandwidth is going to be coming out of the home. But today, it's not a lot of bandwidth. Then you have the neighborhood area networks, which typically today collect the information from the meters to some collection points, to collectors. You have the field area networks. They typically need mobility. They sometimes need access to broadband applications like video surveillance, because they are all around the service territory, and they want to know about the issues even before they get to the substation or some distribution automation device that has an issue. The substations today are installing more and more, or utilities are installing more video surveillance to protect their assets. Apparently, I know about a company in Italy. I don't want to talk about the United States, but in Italy, one of the largest companies are losing 4% of their revenue because of people stealing transformers, because people stealing electricity. Now, in the States, it's a big issue as well, and people are not talking too much about it, but it exists. So we're going to have much more video surveillance requiring bandwidth. Then you have the distribution automation devices, those capacitor banks, switches that they need real-time and quality of service to act as they need. Sometimes it's less than 100 milliseconds. And so you have a lot of different networks with different requirements, and you need to get all of that data into the headquarters. How do you do that? The answer is a wide area network. A wide area network that has the capabilities to aggregate all of the different requirements. A holistic network, it's a 4G network because it needs to be real-time for the DA devices. It needs to have quality of service. It needs to be broadband because you want to have the video surveillance as part of the network and not a separate network. And it needs to have the mobility because in some point of time, utilities would like to have their mobile workforce be part of the network. So there's first the question, what kind of network do you need to have? Should it be a public network or a private network? Well, utilities today, most of them, they want to have private network. And there are several reasons for that. One is control. They want to make sure that if they need to change something in the network, they can do it when they need it. And they don't need to rely on the operator to do that. They want to make sure that they can prioritize the different applications according to their needs. So if they have a DA device that needs real-time communication, they want to make sure that that distribution automation device gets the real-time response and definitely a better response time than an SMS that one teenager sends to his friend. Reliability is an issue. Commercial networks are built for commercial purposes, and that's okay. Utilities are critical infrastructure. Imagine what would happen if there's a virus that goes into the network and it's down, or there is some other issue and it's down, and you don't have electricity across the country. Well, that's not science fiction. In 2003, the East Coast had a huge outage. It was a rolling outage that took electricity for a long period of time. And then coverage. Some utilities have a service territory that reaches places where operators do not have coverage. So these are the four, or maybe as security as